I'm just still floored. Even watching him at the podium tell everybody that they're doing this, that they're making this documentary, it just absolutely flies in the face of everything we've ever been told about Bill Belichick from day one about distractions, Caroline Fenton. And it raises this real question about who Belichick is today. Like,
Mhm.
does this all tarnish his legacy? Like, I realize that we're not allowed to, it feels like we're not allowed to question Belichick because of the rings that he has. But man, it just feels like the whispers are going to become yells, are going to become roars if this North Carolina thing goes poorly.
It is wild to me that I don't think that we've seen a sports figure or former coach tarnish their legacy more in the span of less than a decade than we have with Bill Belichick. I mean, everything that Bill Belichick has built his legacy on was winning Super Bowls and creating championship culture. And there was always that question of who deserved more credit, who, won those Super Bowls more. Was it Belichick or was it Brady? And I think that the post Brady era in New England kind of told us everything that we needed to know about who deserved more credit for those Super Bowls. Because Tom Brady went on to win another Super Bowl, and Bill Belichick went on to essentially get fired in New England. I mean, he was rough after Brady left in New England. So I think that we all have a clarity there. Now, that's not to say that Bill deserves zero credit for the championships in New England. I think that it's fair to say, though, that I credit Brady more for those championships in New England more than I credit Bill Belichick. That brings me to the second part. The second part of Bill's legacy was building a championship culture. That every player that played under Belichick in New England when they were winning championships said, look, it sucked. Life sucked in New England, but the fun was winning championships. That there was this culture of kind of edging each other. That there was one episode of the Brady docu-series where Teddy Bruschi and Mike Vrabel and so many players on those championship teams talked about they were the edgers. That, you come in at 6:30, I come in at 6. Oh, you did 15 reps, I did 20. They were constantly trying to edge each other out. And I think that Bill Belichick built that kind of culture in New England. Well, what kind of culture is he building at North Carolina? He built a culture of zero distractions, no distraction. Your life is football. Well, now Bill Belichick is creating distractions in North Carolina with a 24-year-old girlfriend who is posting. Look, Bill can do whatever he wants in his love life. That's not an issue. But she's posting on Instagram screenshots of emails that come from Bill Belichick that she's been nothing but a distraction at practice when she's standing on the sidelines. Can you imagine Bill in New England, if a player tried to bring their girlfriend on the sidelines at practice, he would be irate. Irate. And now this
I mean,
Hulu docu-series, I mean, Bill Belichick hated the media in New England, and now he's inviting them into their practices in their locker room. It's so anti-Belichickian to the point that I don't even think I know who Bill Belichick is anymore, Fitz.
he at one point reportedly wasn't letting Tom's trainer into the facility because he didn't want Tom's trainer around, right? Like that's
Yes.
the Bill Belichick we're all used to. And now he's letting his girlfriend come. Oh, look, I don't care who you sleep with. That's not my business. I care about what kind of football team he puts together right now. And if the question is Bill Belichick tarnishing his legacy? I think the answer to that is he already has. Like when Brady and Belichick won their last Super Bowl, it was, well, it's the GOAT quarterback and the GOAT coach together at once. And I was one that was loudly screaming at the time. It doesn't have to be him that's responsible. It can be both of them together. But what have we seen since they were torn apart, right? Since they separated, we've seen virtually nothing of meaning from Bill Belichick, which has already taken him from that, oh, Belichick's the greatest of all time, to, well, he's one of. And that's a big difference. Like going from being he's the GOAT to being he's one of the GOATs. Like, can you really put Belichick in a different conversation than some of the other coaches that went out and had dynastic Super Bowl runs? Is Belichick's work more influential to the next generation of football than Bill Walsh's was in the San Francisco era of the 80s? I don't know. But what I do know is right now, based on what we have today, if we're just talking about body of work with the quarterback, is there really no conversation here that Andy Reid today is a better coach than Bill Belichick? I mean, I understand it's Reid and Mahomes, just like it was Belichick and Brady. Like they're at least in the same category. And the fact that we now can lump other coaches in the same breath as Belichick shows you where this has gone. And yeah, if he wins 6 games, 7 games, and Carolina is distracted the entire time and they don't play incredible football, Yeah, that is all going to tarnish his legacy. The first time I ever met Herm Edwards, I wasn't even in this business yet. And I was talking to Herm backstage in an event, and he said, "You
Love
know what,
Herm.
young guy? Great human being." He said, "You know what?" He's like, "I want to teach you something you need to know right now. If you have a quarterback, you're a great coach. And if you don't have a quarterback, you're not a great coach." And like, as oversimplified as that is, when Bill had the greatest quarterback of all time, unstoppable. When Bill doesn't have the greatest quarterback of all time, stoppable. North Carolina does not have the greatest quarterback of all time. So, yeah, I think there's a huge chance through all of this that Belichick simply becomes one of the greatest coaches we've ever seen, which in and of itself tarnishes the legacy of somebody that was considered a GOAT just a few years ago.
I will ask you, how much do we credit Tom Brady for Bill Belichick's gold jacket?
A lot. I think, look, coaching is different for everybody.
I
Everybody
say
has to
more than
receive coaching
50%.
differently. Yeah, 100%. You have to have a special person, what, 80, 75, 80%? You have to have a special person that can receive what you're saying and then can be that guy in the locker room, can be that guy. Like, as much as Tom Brady, just quick clarification, it was a fumble. There's no such thing as the tuck. Now that I've admitted my bias, like Tom Brady, when you watch the documentary they did on him, his willingness to listen to his teammates about what he needed to change in his personal life, his willingness to listen to his teammates about when to be level-headed and when not to, his willingness to learn from veteran players in a way where he looked around and said, yeah, I think it was Willie McGinnis. It was like, you need to take better care of yourself. So he creates TB12. Like, what we've learned is that Tom is wired different than anybody, which means he took Bill's message and Bill's overall philosophy and he integrated it in a way that I don't believe any other quarterback in the history of the NFL could have or would have. So, yes, 100%. Belichick, if he's not giving this to somebody that receives it the way Brady has, Belichick is nowhere near where we see him today.
I just see what he's doing now at North Carolina. And look, North Carolina could go on a run this year. They could go undefeated and win a national championship. And then I look like a total doofus because Bill Belichick just proved all of us wrong. But I would be willing to put significantly more money on, will Bill Belichick be successful at North Carolina? Yes or no? I would be much more willing to put significantly more money on no, Bill Belichick will fail at North Carolina, much more than I would say, yes, Bill Belichick will be successful at North Carolina. And that's even understanding that the definition of success at North Carolina is much different, and the threshold for success is much lower at North Carolina, maybe than than a Clemson and Ohio State and Alabama, so on and so forth. I don't think this is going to look good, and I think that the legacy for Bill Belichick will be far more tarnished at the end of this year than it will the previous one.